What's up, people? Before we begin with the video, I'd like to share with you some facts about brainwashing, mind control, and what's actually going on in the world behind the scenes. Russia spent $1 billion in mind control and brainwashing techniques. The USA only has recorded to have spent 250 million. However, there is a black budget that the USA has. Black budget means they do invest in a project, but they just don't want the public to know, which is 50 billion. They spent 50 billion. Now, I'm not going to tell you, because I can't, that all that 50 billion has gone to mind control and brainwashing, but I have a very good estimate that at least a quarter of that has gone to brainwashing and mind control. Essentially, what I want you to take from that is that the governments are spending, investing a lot of money into brainwashing the populace. You, me, us. And you may be wondering, why did they do that? How did they do that? And what is brainwashing? And I'm going to answer all these questions for you in this video. Essentially, brainwashing is happening to us all the time. We're always being brainwashed by something, whether that's a YouTube video, whether that's a TikTok, Instagram reel, the news, TV, adverts. We're always being brainwashed. But it's whether we're being brainwashed for something that we want and something that we don't want. Now, the epidemic nowadays states and is that we're being brainwashed to be disempowered, to be limited, to believe that we are not good enough, to have low confidence and low self-love. And you may be wondering, how do they do that? I'll get onto that in a moment. Not now, but in just a moment. For now though, you may just begin to realize where brainwashing is taking place. Things like social medias, the media, the news, TV, adverts, movies, Hollywood. All of that stuff is brainwashing you. Now the most important question is, because brainwashing is happening nonetheless, but it depends for a negative paradigm or a positive paradigm. And you may just find that the stuff that I just mentioned does not bring you to a positive paradigm, but instead a more negative one that you're more scared, more negative and low vibration. But now let me explain to you why. What's the incentive behind the government brainwashing people, controlling people? Now, before we get into that, I'm going to give you a metaphor to understand how the government really sees you as a person. Think of it like a farmer and its cattle. The government's the farmer, you are the cattle, you're the cow. And as bad as that sounds, if you give it milk, cool, neutral, I appreciate that, that's your job. But if you don't and you die, something happens to you, they don't really care. They're just like, on to the next cow. That's the mindset behind the government brainwashing the people. And the people that nowadays still believe that the government cares for them, actually cares for them deep down, are completely and even deeply brainwashed. So why do they do this? What's the incentive? I want you to now think that you're the king of an empire, a king of a society. And there's a social hierarchy, like there is now, working class, slaves, that's the social hierarchy. And so why do they do that? If the king doesn't have control over the populace will overthrow, will not listen to the rules, will not abide by the law. And what happens is that is not sustainable. That is not long-term logical for someone to be an emperor and to not put laws and rules in place for the populace to follow. Otherwise, they could be overthrown anytime soon. So of course, how do they prevent that? They use hypnosis, they use mind control, they use methods where we all are, adverts, TV, news, the media, creating fright, creating scare onto the populace. It makes sense why they do that. It's a way of telling you that you're not good enough, you should listen to us. This is the perspective that we're pushing on you, and you should listen to it. Otherwise, you're immoral and you're wrong. That's what they make you feel if you don't listen to the news. And there's obviously engineering that goes behind that, human engineering that goes behind that. Awareness is the only thing that can change anything. If you're not aware that you're addicted, you won't change the addiction. If you're not aware that you're ill, then you won't change that. If you're not aware, you can't change. This is why on GPS, on navigators, you need to send your location to know where you are now, to know where you're gonna go, and then it gives you the distance. And that's the journey that resembles the journey that you are undertaking in this. And realize that wherever you pay attention to, energy is flowing that way. Attention is simply energy, and where energy goes, energy flows. Where attention goes, energy flows. So at the end of the day, just pay close attention to where you're paying attention. Where is most of your attention going? Is it social media, news, TV, adverts? If so, you're probably in a disempowering paradigm where you're low confidence, low self-worth, and you don't believe that you're good enough. This is why adverts come in. They play on the stuff that make you think that you're not good enough, so you buy their product. This is very surface level. This is what I'm teaching you, but this is actually all that you need to know. But at the end of the day, I just want you to realize one thing, and I want you to see this in a very specific way. This is the problem that I'm facing right now, that we're being brainwashed, that we're all being brainwashed, that they're placing limitations on us. But I now want you to realize that this video is a solution. So this is the problem, this is the solution. And as you explore the solution and become aware of it and apply it into your life and become to understand it, you can come back stronger. Now, after this video, I want to shift all your attention to the person that you want to be, the person that feels good every day. You wake up smiling, you wake up grateful, you wake up feeling good and feeling energetic because you don't need the energy drinks. You don't need the drugs every week. You don't need therapy. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's big pharma. Of course they want to make money. Think. You don't even need to think outside the box, you just need to think. So simply place attention on who you want to be and who you want to be. What does that person place attention to? And you have all the answers that you will ever need. And once you've done that and realize that this video was super beneficial, and I'm so glad that you've got to the end, feel free to comment down below any other video it is. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you subscribe, especially if you enjoyed this video. And if you really enjoyed this video, send it to friends and family that you think would benefit.